Hey everyone, welcome back. We are continuing our broadcast. I'm really excited that they were renewed, although we are not keeping the Making It Together series, I guess you could call it. We are still going to be going live weekly on Mondays and Thursdays, and you will see us coming back between me and Josh, just continuing to present on different content. Just to keep things really rolling. So today we are going to be focusing on some of the upcoming holidays for June and July and some of the stuff that you can print for that. And just talking about the importance as well when it comes to printing for the holidays, because it's something that you can certainly capitalize on very well. And there is a really good resource that I found, and I have to give a shout out to Cutting for Business because they put together a calendar based on the holidays and when you should start promoting them so that you're promoting them in advance, well before the holiday actually comes so that people can see and have time to kind of shop with you and see the different things that you're offering. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you guys can see. This is the first one that was put together. So you can see here, it's a guide to selling holiday or seasonal handmade items. So whether you're heat printing or crafting for specific holidays, this is going to be a great resource because it does a really great breakdown of what you, or when, I guess I should say, you should actually start promoting the items you're making for these particular holidays. So this one has all of the major holidays. So you'll see 4th of July and Father's Day listed here that they start promoting Father's Day in May. And it says start selling second half of the month. So it gives you a breakdown of when you should start actually promoting those things and selling them. So people have enough time in advance to see what you are printing for gifts or whatever you're doing for those holidays. And then also have time to buy and prepare what they're going to purchase for you. You can see that Mother's Day during May has fell back to the pack up or clearance out. So you'll notice that you'll see these holidays in different parts of this calendar because it breaks down exactly when you can push them through to clearance or just take them off of your website or your promotion altogether. So I am going to go ahead and copy and paste this link for you guys so that you can have this. And this is going to be a really great resource, especially if you are doing holidays. If you're not doing holidays, I really hope that you pull something from this live that connects with you and why you should do holidays, because everything selling wise for your business is going to come to what is relatable to your customer, especially if you're doing apparel and accessories that are custom printed and what have you. So if you can connect with them through a holiday or something that they resonate well to, this is a very easy way to do that. So just keep that in mind. Holidays are a really big opportunity for printers. So whether it be something small like Nurses Week or Teachers Week, which I'll show you a calendar here for as well, it is going to be big because you can connect with those customers in an emotional way and make yourself relatable to your customers through holidays. So consider it if it's not something you're doing already. So this is once more the calendar for selling holiday or seasonable items. And this is going to have all of your major holidays. The second one we have here is just some of those fun holidays that are kind of random and honestly probably are started really through social media. We see these things trending on like hashtag International Working Women's Day, which just happened a few months back. And these are all things that people are relating with because they're either directly involved with it and it's just becomes a social media trend. And if you can pick up on those trends, it's ultimately going to help you sell more and just drive more traffic to your products because it is something that's trending online. And if you're online and your products are related to that trend, then they will buy. right? So you can see just those random ones that are typically popular on social media through Instagram, Facebook, a lot of those different things. So some of the ones we're looking at beyond just obviously 4th of July, which is next month already. I can't believe it. And then Father's Day is this month as well. But there's just some other random ones if you want to take advantage of, and even just post a video of you printing something relating to these holidays. It could build more traffic to your platforms and your products overall. All right, so I'll copy and paste this link into the comments as well, so that you guys can have those on hand. It's a free resource. It's available through Cutting for Business. So once again, shout out to her being able to put this calendar together. I use it a lot for videos and when we should start doing holiday specific designs in our videos. So I hope that you guys can really benefit from this resource. So with that being said, let's go ahead and actually design. So we have been adding a lot of templates to CADWorks. And I'm going to be doing 2 items today, a basic t-shirt. We're going to do a 3-color ultra weed design on there for Father's Day. And then we're going to do an Americana bag for the 4th of July. And we're going to use ultra weed on that as well. So over in CADWorks, you can see here, we have a lot of new templates we've been adding that have been just seasonal specific and holiday specific. So you'll notice we have some for summer and we have some for Father's Day. We've done some for Memorial Day. So utilize this because it's completely free. You can just pull these templates and utilize them so that you don't have to spend a ton of time creating for holidays, especially if it's not your full thing. Like if that is not your go-to or your preferred market or for how you reach specific customers, then this is just going to be a really quick grab for you. So you don't have to spend a ton of time designing. And it's free. So just go online to cadworkslive.com, click our templates, and that is where we have all of these available for you. So the one that we are going to be applying for Father's Day is this one. And I really love this because it's just really unique. It has that retro comic vibe to it. And I feel like it resonates well for Father's Day with the colors and just the unique look of the template overall. So it looks like a complex design, but it's not, because whenever you start to break this apart, you can see that these just all kind of drop right in. So whenever we're creating these designs, we ultimately consider how you guys are going to be printing these. For the most part, at least on my end, I know I work with a lot of heat transfer vinyl, sometimes sublimation and some full color stuff. But for the most part, I know I have to cut out multiple colors of heat transfer vinyl in order to achieve these effects. So we keep that in mind as we're building the templates and try to make it as easy as possible. So you can see we just have 3 colors here. And although it looks like a complex design, once you start to break that apart, it really isn't. So since I'm cutting this out on my Cricut Explore Air 2, all I do is hit export and then I select my PNG file. And then I just import that right into Cricut. So if you guys aren't familiar with how to get your images from CADWorks into Cricut Design Space or Silhouette Studio, it's a really simple process. We have a ton of videos out there on it, but I feel like I've been repeating that over and over throughout all of these lives, and I don't want to get too redundant with you guys. So just feel free to check out some of our old broadcasts that we published, and you can see how that all works. Now, I started weeding out this design. I already cut it out of my Ultra Weed. And as I was weeding it, I was like, I have to show you this, guys, live because of the amount of detail that Ultra Weed is picking up. And I really felt that I needed to redeem myself for the awful cutting experience that we had last Friday live with Ultra Weed, because my blade is getting dull and it just did not cut the design very well at all. So I increased my force today and did some testing, making sure we were able to cut out this design well. because this is an intricate design with all of those small dots and little intricate pieces and elements. So it did a really good job in cutting out all of those really small details. So this is ultimately a really great product for doing designs like this that have a lot of that intricate, complex artwork and elements throughout. So again, this is Ultra Weed color black. All right, so that is going to be our background color. And then I used our shark teal for the foreground that's going to directly lay over top of the black. And what I love about this template that was created, there wasn't a lot of extra, or there wasn't any at all that I needed to add to this design. It was really just ready to go. If I wanted to add some personalization to it, I could by just adding text. And then I'm also able to change those colors in and out as well. So any of those templates on CADWorks, you have the ability to just go in and change them however you want. Right, so this is going to drop. As I'm weeding things out, I like to just see how they are going to, this is upside down, how they're going to start piecing together. So I start doing that as I'm weeding these out. All right, and now for the last piece, which is our color Maize. All right, once the excess is weeded away, we'll just go back in and pick out all those extra cavities. It's another thing I like about this template is there's only one portion where there's like a lot of text where you have to go in and fill out all those extra cavities. That was the first design of, or the first piece or element of this design that we actually had to go back in and pull out cavities. So designs for heat transfer vinyl that have less start and stop points are ultimately going to help you just stay consistent in your production time, that you're not spending too much time doing all of that. All right, so we are going to be heat pressing on a 100% polyester. And if you're already working with and familiar with Ultra Weed, we know anytime we're working with 100% synthetic fabrics, we can just apply at the lowest temperature, which is 260 degrees, which is pretty game changing for heat transfer vinyl because there's not many out there that can apply at such a low temperature. But why that's important is because we want to make sure we are not scorching our apparel. So any heat transfer vinyl, when it comes to 100% polyester, you definitely want to make sure that you are at a nice low temp application, but you can't just drop any type of heat transfer vinyl to a low temp. You have to make sure that it is compatible with applying at a low temperature. So this, again, 260 degrees is what we're going to be applying at. Right now, what I'm doing is just testing my pressure and preheating my garment. Another great aspect of this product is it has a 2-second tack. And since we're working with 3 colors, we definitely want to utilize that because we do have some tight registration between the text and our shark teal design element. So we want to make sure we're not experiencing any shrinking. So if you've worked with heat transfer vinyl in the past that has multiple colors in a design, you're probably familiar with your applications not accurately lining up. And that's because heat transfer vinyl tends to shrink if you are at high enough of a temperature. So, and a long dwell time. So there's 2 reasons that could be happening. right, I'm just gonna double check my design one more time to make sure I have that placed correctly. It looks like I do. All right. So yeah, ultimately it comes to the temperature and the amount of dwell time. This is a 2-second tack. So I can just tack that for just a couple seconds and then peel back this carrier. It activates the adhesive long enough to get it to adhere to my garment. And then I can just keep doing that until I get to my last layer. Right, and I'm just continuing to look at my design here to make sure I am placing it accurately. Which is another good tip if you're working with designs you're not used to applying or you're applying it for the first time, is to just keep the image up on your screen or print it out if you don't have a computer next to your heat press, and just compare where you're placing each element to what the image looks like. Right, I do have some exposed heat transfer vinyl, so now I'm going to grab a cover sheet just to protect my upper heating element. And again, this is going to apply for just a couple seconds as well. And then whenever we get to our last layer, we're going to tack it and then apply for the full application so that we cure it completely to the shirt. I don't know about you guys, but I always have a rough time placing drop shadows. So I'm going to look at my design one more time. Okay. So that's tight registration over on the left-hand side, but then after that, it just kind of like drops. Okay. So again, I'm going to tack this layer one more time, just because if you apply that for the full application, for that long dwell time, the lines of our Mylar carrier here are actually going to dig in and leave an indentation into that heat transfer vinyl underneath it. So I can avoid that by just tacking this layer. And I'm going to lift this up so maybe you can see what I'm talking about. Right here, there's a little bit of a line. It's very faint, but ultimately that would have created a really large indent and harsh line right in that graphic if I didn't tack that. Now I'm going to apply it for the full application with my cover sheet, and that's going to get kind of buff that line out. And avoid any of those like creating or compromising the finish of the heat transfer vinyl that was down first. All right, so 3-color application. I know it seemed like it took longer because I was talking through it and just discussing steps with you, but ultimately that 2-second tack is really going to help speed up your heat application time. So it turned out really great. I didn't have any trouble with my registration over here where it's really tight, other than just kind of trying to figure out how it lined up. So that always helps just to keep an image of the graphic there. But if overall it feels really nice, I know we did layer 3 colors, but there was a lot of like open cavity in each one. So ultimately, where the yellow is and the teal is, that's technically only 2 layers. So we're not directly layering the yellow and the teal over top of each other. So we are still keeping some open space of just that black single layer. So it doesn't feel super heavy. So if you are working with multiple colors of heat transfer vinyl and layering, just keep in mind the more open your design is, the better it's going to feel on the t-shirt. All right, so that is our first design, perfect for not holidays, but Father's Day, and an overall really easy thing to heat apply. And the design's already made up for you right in CAD Works. So if you're not already a member just go ahead and sign up. It's free and you can utilize any of those designs in there. All right, the next application we're going to do, I was saving this because I wanted to, I know I showed this, I think like last week or 2 weeks ago at this point, but I'm really excited for this bag. And I was thinking about doing a static video on it and just showing a unique way to, or a unique accessory to heat apply, but I feel like it fits perfectly. And I'm really excited to heat apply this one because I just love this bag. So this was sourced from S&S Activewear. I forget the brand, but I can post that in the comments later on. I'll go back and look it up. But we have some friends over at S&S Activewear that sent this over for us to test. So I'm really excited to test it out with you guys today. What we're going to do is heat apply the front pocket. This is going to be probably easier just because we're going to use a pillow in there to kind of raise this area so that these thick seams don't get in the way of getting an accurate application. So that's what I like about this bag is they took the decorator into consideration once again in all the different print methods that you could utilize for this. So heat printing, super easy. It wouldn't be hard to, if I was working with a different heat press, to just load a really small platen on there and just thread that pocket on there. So the colors we're going to be working with are the metallic silver. So this one's new for me. I haven't worked with it yet. So I'm excited to see how this one turns out. And then we're just using the navy and the regular red. So the regular red is a little bit deeper than the bright red, which I've shown before. So just keep that in mind. I use this one because I think it pairs nicer with a lot of the red that is utilized in Americana stuff. It's not usually bright. It's usually just the true red color. So we can go ahead and weed away this. I already have the design cut out. I'm just looking for my cut lines there. And this is a nice script font that we're working with. So it does have some intricacy in it. So you can see how thin those lines are in there. And this design is only 6 inches in height. So the smaller the design is with these intricate letters, the harder it can be if you're not using a material that can really hold fine detail. All right, so that is our first color. Sometimes the cut lines can be hard to see in heat transfer vinyl. So what I do is just lift it up and kind of bend it like facing the light so that I can see where my cut lines start. All right, and our navy is done. And now we can do the metallic silver. I'm really excited to see how this looks when it's heat applied because I can see a little bit of like glitter specks throughout. And obviously not as bright or texturized as like a true glitter, but it just has like these little silver sparkles throughout the smooth heat transfer vinyl. So I'm excited to see how it looks when it's heat applied. All right, not much to this one, so that one was super easy to weed. All right, so I need to grab my pillow, making sure it's the right size for this pocket. So there are a lot of different sizes. in the heat printing pillows that we offer, and it looks like this one is going to thread right in there. So I'm just going to put that in there to raise this area, right? This is the smallest one that we offer. And now these seams on the side are not going to get in the way. Now I want to make sure that for every application that I do on this bag, that I am using a cover sheet, because this is a 100% polyester that was sublimated to get the stars and stripes on it. So we want to be sure that that is not going to reactivate as the high heat of this is on it and starting to stick to the upper heating element. All right, so what I'm doing to get this on there is just threading it a little bit. Now, this heat press isn't entirely threadable because of where the footprint is. There's really no space under there. But the bag is big enough for me to just sit one layer on there. So what I need to do is test my pressure. So I'm going to make sure I cover what's exposed with the cover sheet. And I'm going to dial this back just to see where I'm at. It looks like we're at a pretty good pressure there. It's pretty easy to gauge where you're at. Ideally, you would want something to tell you what type of pressure you're at just to be sure. But sometimes you can just get a feel for it. All right, so I am going to start with the red part of my design because that is the top part. So I want to make sure that it's easy alignment from there. And I'm just kind of feeling around to make sure I'm directly on that pillow and it's not starting to fall off on the edges, because that has happened to me in the past where I think there's a little piece on there. Okay. That has happened to me in the past where the pillow seems like it's right where it needs to be for that design to apply accurately, but it accidentally is like coming off on the side and it won't actually heat apply in that section. So just want to make sure that you are paying close attention to where that pillow is underneath the item you're heat applying. All right, and you'll notice that I kind of have to hold this here to make sure it's not pushing out too much and I can adhere the entire design. Looks like we're under there pretty good. So again, we can just do a 2-second tap with that since that's our first layer. Looks like the edge of my star actually didn't get heat applied too well, so I'll try to push that up a little bit further under that heating element whenever I apply the next couple colors. And really, we're just following those same guidelines that we did from the t-shirt when it comes to the heat application, because again, this is a 3-color application, and although we're not layering any of these colors, those 2-second taps still apply. Right, so I'm just pushing that up to make sure that that design is completely under the heating element. All right, so far, so good. I like how well the colors are matching the bag. Sometimes that can be a challenge in finding heat transfer vinyl that matches the true colors of a garment. And it just does, like, it just makes, the design is half the battle and the colors of the design. So if you can get colors that truly match the colors that are implemented into the garment or accessory, then that just kind of helps make it more sellable. All right, and now we're going to apply the metallic silver. All right, and this one will get the full application. The reason I'm not tacking this is because there weren't really any part of that design where the lines were overlapping another heat transfer vinyl that was already applied. So I wasn't too worried about that. So if your carrier pretty much covers the design entirely, then it's not something you really need to worry about. But really great finish overall. I love how the metallic silver turned out. I hope you guys can see that really well. I'll definitely post a picture of this in the Facebook group, but that metallic really shines. And it's not like an overwhelming metallic, so it's definitely something that you could use across different genders. So it's not like too girly or too blingy. It's something that could still be utilized in a graphic for men's apparel and it not be like too overwhelming. So it's a really great metallic to be able to have a unique special effect finish in a design, but still, once more, it's just not overwhelming. All right, so this turned out really, really cool. I love this. All right, so once again, if you can incorporate holidays into your applications for your customers, it's a really great way to connect with them and be able to just add more items to what you're selling. So holidays are definitely really important if it's not something that you are already doing. All right, so let's go ahead and visit some comments and questions that are coming in. So April just asked, have these both been Ultra Weed? Sorry, I'm late. Yes, both were Ultra Weed. So for those of you that are just joining, this is the first application we did with Ultra Weed. We utilized the maize, shark tail, and black, and we were able to get really great intricate detail in the background of this design. So this template is available in cadworkslive.com if you are interested in using this for Father's Day. Coming up, I think it's June 21st. And once more, the bag turned out really, really well. So obviously this is for July 4th. And we just used the basic red, navy, and metallic silver for this application. All right, so Laura, for the design that I used on the bag, I actually sourced it from Love SVG. So I can share the cut file with you in the Facebook group whenever I post these. So if you're not in the Heat Press for Profit group, I can send you the cut file, but I can't actually add it to CADWorks since I used her artwork for it. All right, so any other questions? Patrice says, love the bag. I have some of your printed vinyl with a flag print that would look great on that bag. Yeah, absolutely. Patterns are a huge hit for holidays because we have so many different patterns for specific to the holidays. And you can even use some of the patterns that we offer and make them the color of the holiday too. So it doesn't even have to be holiday specific. You can still use some of our other patterns and choose the colors that go into them. Natalie asked, when do you know the pressure is correct? So that's kind of what I was meaning to get to whenever I talked about the feel of the pressure and how it's more important to know what the pressure is. But that's a different heat press. So this heat press, it doesn't have a pressure readout, but any of our Hottronics machines that are the silver and blue ones. So the Auto Clam, the Fusion, and any of those air models, they all have a pressure readout so that you know that you're at a light, medium, or firm pressure. Unfortunately, the starter presses, which are just like low investment presses that just kind of get you started with heat printing, they have, you can kind of feel, but that is kind of where sometimes there can be error after an application is complete and maybe something's falling off in the wash. It's typically because sometimes you don't know that you're at a firm enough pressure because what feels firm to you might not be the actual firmness it needs to apply accurately. So eventually it's important to invest in a heat press that does have that pressure readout just so that you can ensure quality every time for the products that you're selling. So with this press, I don't actually know what pressure I'm at. I'm just gauging based off of how it feels to me. It felt that I was at like between a light and a medium pressure for both of the applications, which I like to be at for any of my light to medium applications. All right. Yeah, so once again, the bag was sourced from S&S Activewear, so I did see that comment. Let's go ahead and look up what the brand is, since I cannot remember for the life of me. I'm just gonna type in American tote bag. What pops up? Here it is. So OAD Americana Boater Tote. Right, so that's where you can source that. I'll leave that up there for a little bit longer though, so that you guys can see that. I'll actually share the link as well. All right. So that is where you can source the tote from. And Lily asks, can I use this design to sell my product online? Absolutely. So any of the templates that we add, you can use to sell. They are not for personal use only. We design them so that you guys can utilize those to sell. Ivan says, I just got a Graph Tech. Next purchase will be a Hotronics. Good call. So Graph Tech is a really great vinyl cutter. And I started out with a Graph Tech and, or I guess I shouldn't say I started out with one, but that's what I learned on. And then I dropped down to the craft cutters because I wanted to test our products on them. And I overthought everything whenever I got to one of these cutters because I was just so used to the more advanced cutters. But one of the biggest challenges I had was waiting for a design to cut out because the Graph Tech and Roland larger cutters all run off a motor that works very fast and they cut out the designs in seconds. So I will say that is awesome that you got a Graph Tech. You are actually going to notice how much time it saves you in the production of cutting out your designs. Right, and Patty says, how does the Ultra Weed look if you finish it with a textured cover sheet instead of the craft sheet? So I've noticed that it actually takes on the texture very well. And I think it's just because of the matte finish that it has and the thinness of it. But I have used it on a couple different applications where I had to use the flexible application pad, which has a little bit of texture to it. And it actually builds that texture right into the heat transfer vinyl. So any textured cover sheet that you're using is going to really take on into the heat transfer vinyl. So that also goes for the Teflon sheet. So that's one of the big things we talk about when it comes to cover sheets is the craft paper helps to matte a product, and the Teflon cover sheets actually make them look a little bit more glossy. And then obviously the textured cover sheets are going to have like a textured pattern throughout. So a really unique way to just kind of build unique value in the products that you're selling is to use the craft papers and the cover sheets in unique ways that make the product stand out to the customer. All right. Ivan says he's excited. It is a really cool machine. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I just want to announce the new schedule that we're going to be following. I did that on the front end, but I know people were just joining. So every Monday and Thursday, Josh and I will be swapping out weeks and different topics. So I'll see you guys again on Thursday. We'll be going live at 11 on Mondays and Thursdays. So this week's my week. So I'll see you guys again on Thursday. And then Josh will be joining you guys on next week on Monday and Thursday as well. So thank you guys so much for joining. Hopefully things are starting to open back up in your area. Things are in my area. I'm really excited to go just have a drink with a friend or something. So have a really great week and weekend or week. I'll see you Thursday and then we can talk about the weekend. All right. So see you guys.